What's up, everybody? Natalie here with Jaspin, and I had a sign that said, give me your best arguments for not being vegan, debate a vegan, and Jaspin very kindly agreed to sit down even though he only has a few minutes. So I'm curious, what are your arguments against being vegan?
So my main argument is just that as humans, we do play a role in the ecosystem that we live in, and we do play a wider role in that ecosystem. And one of the roles that we play is that of predator. And so if we were to stop being predator, what is to say that there wouldn't be an overpopulation of animals that would hurt the environment in other ways?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and we certainly do have a role in the ecology. The thing about that is that, there are 8 billion humans, right?
Right.
Every year we breed into existence 80 to 100 billion animals currently right now. So we already have overpopulation. So the more and more people go vegan, gradually farmers will stop breeding those animals into existence because, they're not going to breed animals that they can't sell.
Right.
So we'll actually reduce the number of animals drastically, which will have a very positive effect on the climate because there's currently such an overpopulation issue. But yeah, that's a great question.
I didn't think about that. I just assumed that the population was naturally high, especially because knowing the origins of eating meat, knowing that was something that it's not like it was domesticated or agriculturalized. It was just something that our ancestors did so that they would have food. And so I guess thinking of that history, it was more of I guess I thought that it still kind of went that way. I didn't really understand the effects of agriculture on the population of animals. So that's really interesting.
Absolutely. And that's why I come out and have these conversations, because I feel like people kind of have a lot of misconceptions or don't necessarily understand how it works. So you're right that our ancestors have always done this. Do you think that provides justification for us to continue to kill animals, or do you think we should kind of evolve away from using animals as resources now that we no longer have to eat them for our survival?
So putting it in the way that we no longer have to eat them or kill them for our survival, I would see where that would strip the justification, because by saying kill, you're saying, hey, you're regarding this life as only a means to an end, and you're not giving that life the respect that it deserves. But in the way that you say that, in the way that you acknowledge, yes, they are a means for our survival, as I say, that if we treated them with the same respect that our ancestors did, in that we understood the part that they played in the environment that we live in, and I have taken courses in college about the way that the food industry works and the way that they treat animals, and it is very inhumane. I will give you that. But if we went back to ways that were quick killings and painless, then there would almost be no reason to say we can't do this, because in seeing how our ancestors did it, the way that they were respectful to the animals, the way that they used every part of the animal and were not wasteful. So it provided clothing, it provided food, it provided heat and shelter.
Here, let me stop you here just because you brought up a few points and I want to make sure to address all of them. So first of all, you kind of said that the fact that it's no longer a necessity for us kind of strips the moral justification away.
Right.
So do you think that if we treat animals nicely, give them a good life, which I will point out is economically and ecologically impossible to feed 8 billion people, treating them all that way.
Right.
You already said that the non-necessity of it strips away the justification.
Right.
Do you think you could justify taking an animal's life if you don't need to?
If you don't need to, no.
Okay.
I would say no. Because you can compare a fish to a dog. And there's no reason to kill a dog because we don't eat dogs.
Sure.
So if we moderate our consumption of fish, then there's no need to kill fish that we're not eating. Because I feel like a lot of fish that we do eat, I'm just using fish as an example, but a lot of fish that we do eat go to waste anyway. So there's no reason to kill those fish. So I say, to an extent, no, there is no justification. But I would say that if we're limiting and moderating, maybe if we even raise the price of meat so that it's you take into consideration how much you're buying, even the killing of animals would go down in that sense too.
It certainly would go down, and I think that that's a good starting point, right? We want to make it harder for people to buy meat, so people naturally eat less. The thing I'm worried about is that would create this kind of classist system where only the richest people can buy meat, and I personally think that's unfair. But what I'm most concerned about is the fairness to the animals, right? So let's say we're killing 80 billion animals per year right now.
Right.
Let's say we only killed 40 billion. That's half what we're killing. Do you think it's fair from those animals' perspectives? Should we take their lives into account?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you brought up a really good point earlier about fish and dogs being similar. Do you think there's like a morally relevant difference between a dog and like a cow or a chicken?
No.
Yeah.
Because I know people who have pigs as pets.
Oh, cool.
And you would never ask someone, "Hey, you've been emotionally invested in this pig for pretty much its entire life. Why don't you just go kill it?" Like
Yeah.
that's just wrong on any basis to me.
The more people who like this video, the more people I can talk to about veganism, and the more people will go vegan. So hit that like button right now. And is there a difference between that pig that someone's emotionally invested in and a pig on a factory farm, morally?
Morally, basically, no. There is no difference. It's the same anatomy, it's the same animal. But when you look at I guess this would probably give you a point, but when you look at the way that they're treated, there is a treated difference because there's a different value system there.
Yes.
So pigs who are pets are treated kinder. They're not stuffed for the slaughter.
Yeah.
But pigs who are on a farm, they're just treated like a number. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. We've kind of created this hierarchy where we treat some animals different from other animals. I feel as if it's fairly hypocritical. Would you agree that it's hypocritical the way we give some animals moral worth and others? So what would stop you from saying like, oh, I don't want to harm animals anymore. I am going to stop paying for them to be abused. What would stop you from doing that and going vegan?
Probably if I was more aware of ways to eat vegan, because as a college student, the most accessible thing to me is McDonald's. And so I'm just gonna go pick up a 10-piece nugget or a hamburger from McDonald's because I don't know any ways to eat vegan. So if they had more ways for me to eat vegan, that it would definitely push me to be. I would not be opposed to being vegan.
So it's more like you feel as if you don't necessarily have the resources.
Right.
If I gave you resources, would you be happy to look into them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And then let's say it was like a little less convenient, right? Like maybe you had to go a little bit out of your way. Is it harder for you to go out of your way to like a different restaurant to find a vegan option, or is it harder for the cow to go into a slaughterhouse?
It's definitely harder for the cow. Yeah.
Definitely. And so what do you think is more important, like convenience and let's say taste too, because we can acknowledge that these products taste good. What has higher value, convenience and taste, or animals' lives?
I would say animals' lives, because you can always adapt taste. And convenience, it might be a 5-minute drive out of your way, but an entire animal's life, that's like I couldn't imagine if I had a dog and it died. So to say that we kill cows to eat, it's like,
It's the same.
yeah, it's really the same.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And like the last thing I want to touch on that I like to touch on with young guys is like, do you think that meat is manly?
I think a lot of things are manly and a lot of things are feminine. Meat is not one of those things. Meat is a very genderless item for me.
Yeah, I just asked that because I feel like there's like this kind of perception and culture like manly men eat meat. But in my eyes, I think manly men protect the innocent, and animals are the most innocent creatures on earth. So I think it's a lot more masculine to protect the vulnerable. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fair. I think because our society has established that men are the protectors, that it's only fair that they protect everything and embrace that in a healthy way.
That's beautiful. Do you have any other questions for me?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so glad that we met, and I'm happy to give you resources and kind of help you on your way, and happy to help out if there's anything you need. Thank you so much, Jaspin.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this, hit that like button. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons, Amy, Andy, and Deepak.